Hey Katie, today is Tuesday, November 12th, and it is 11/12/13. That makes me kind of happy. I am once again late this week, but I have a valid excuse. I spent the weekend in the Outer Banks, and me and Ashley ran the 8K. We tied for third place in our age group, so that was pretty cool. But we didn't get back until Monday afternoon, and then I was doing homework, so now it's Tuesday and I'm making my video today. And I'm kind of going to kill two birds with one stone with this video. One, it's my weekly video for you, but two, it's also going to be my English homework. Isn't that fun? Every week in English, we have to write a lit reaction paper, which is basically a one-page paper reacting to what we're reading in English right now. And we finished Beowulf last class, which means our lit reaction this week can be a little bit more interesting. We can make it creative, we can draw pictures or do whatever. And so I decided I was going to talk about Beowulf instead of writing, because I'm much better at speaking my thoughts than writing them down. So if anyone is watching this and they haven't read Beowulf or they haven't finished it yet, stop watching now, because there are going to be spoilers. I'm going to talk about the ending of the book. So Beowulf is this Geatlander. He's a guy from Geatland, and he's kind of the exact definition of an epic hero. So Beowulf's this really big, huge, tough guy, and the book focuses on his three major battles. The first one is when he travels to Denmark to help out King Hrothgar and kill Grendel, who was terrorizing the poor Danes. The second one is where he kills Grendel's mom, because Grendel's mom was upset that Beowulf killed Grendel and she wanted to get revenge. And the third one is when Beowulf finally becomes king of Geatland. He's got a nice peaceful time, and then he has to fight a dragon, because that's what happens. Dragons show up in Geatland and they start terrorizing your people because some guy had the nerve to not die in the presence of the dragon. And unfortunately, because he's 80 years old at this point, Beowulf dies in his fight with the dragon. He is not as strong as he once was. And, things aren't looking too good, and he gets burned a lot, and scratched a lot, and bitten, and he ends up dying. So Beowulf brought all his best warriors along with him, who's going to be, his backup. But at the last minute, all but one of them were like, no, this isn't going to work, and they ran away. They just up and left. But then one guy, his name was Wiglaf, he stayed because he's like, shoot, Beowulf is my uncle. I can't just leave him. And this poor Wiglaf guy was miserable. He was terrified. He had never been in a battle before. He's like this young little kid who doesn't know what he's doing. But he feels honor bound to stick with Beowulf and help him out. And coincidentally, Wiglaf stabs the dragon in his fire-producing organ, and the dragon can't produce fire anymore. But then Beowulf manages to beat the dragon, and then the dragon dies, and then in Beowulf's dying breaths, he says to Wiglaf, you're gonna take over now. Beowulf didn't have any heirs, but he decided, hey Wiglaf, you help me out, you're gonna be king now. Which was actually a really jerk move. Beowulf was, he was this big, strong guy, and so all the people surrounding Geatland, who hated the Geats, weren't going to do anything about their hatred for the Geats, because Beowulf was going to kick their butts if they tried. Beowulf was just going to annihilate them. And so in his dying breath, when it's just Beowulf and Wiglaf left in this earth mound, Beowulf says, hey, you're going to be the king now. And so Wiglaf's going to come out of this hill, this puny little guy who's never been in a battle before and now has a really badly burned hand, is going to come out of this earth mound saying, guys, guess what? I'm king now! And all of Beowulf's followers and strong warriors are going to be like, no you're not, you puny kid. Who do you think you are? So he's going to have to deal with all these legitimacy issues. But he's also going to have to deal with the Swedes, who really hate the Geats. And he's going to have to deal with the Franks and the Frisians, they even say. And people can expect fighting once the Franks and the Frisians have heard that our king lies dead. Page 118. When we first started this book, we talked about how it was kind of like an Anglo-Saxon guide to how to be a great warrior king person. Beowulf is the example you want to follow. If you're an Anglo-Saxon warrior, you're gonna do everything you can to be like Beowulf. But you definitely should not be like a dying Beowulf, because the dying Beowulf is not, I don't know if he's not thinking things through because he's dying, and like in retrospect maybe he wasn't there mentally. So while I think Beowulf was a great warrior and a pretty good king, I think he really made some serious mistakes. Beowulf realizes towards the end of the book, like, I'm probably gonna die in this battle. This is gonna be, like, this is it. And if he knew he was going into a situation like that, and he knew he was probably gonna die, shouldn't he have chosen an heir? He might not have had any kids, but he probably could have picked somebody capable. Somebody who could have at least attempted to beat off the Franks and the Frisians and the Swedes. I would have expected him to plan for the future better, knowing that everybody hated the Geats and wanted to attack. He probably could have set up some defense measures before he went off to his death. He probably should have figured out some possible solutions, maybe written them down and left them like next to the throne so that whoever takes the throne next, they can at least follow Beowulf's guide to how to be a great Anglo-Saxon warrior / king. I was disappointed by Beowulf's lack of logic at the end, and maybe that's just me because I'm a Ravenclaw and logic is like the greatest thing ever, but he didn't think his death through very well. Because poor Wiglaf was just doing what he felt like he had to, and now he has all this responsibility thrust into his hands, and while he might have been courageous for facing his fear and going to help Beowulf fight the dragon, he certainly cannot handle running a country. Overall, I have kind of mixed feelings on Beowulf, the book as a whole. I think it has its parts that it's really good, and I think it has its parts that are like, really? I'm looking forward to reading Sir Gawain and the Green Knight next in English. I just finished reading Le Morte d'Arthur, and Sir Gawain is mentioned a bit, and so it'll be interesting to read a book focused on him. He seems like a pretty cool guy. I hope you had a great week, Katie, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye!